1200 Datsun. There's Philip Pantasis in the
Theo van Vuren in the 2002 there, just in front and looking to get ahead of a second Soroka on the course. And the blue and white Fiat that you were talking about, that was actually Darren Lobb. So 311, that's Daryl Fordham, and as he comes through there, he's actually entered in a yellow Volkswagen. I'm not quite sure if it's a Soroka or a Golf. It just says yellow Volkswagen.
Yeah,
I think it's a Soroka though, Roger.
They're lower and lighter. They do exceptionally well. There's Peter Lindenberg in the lead. And Uli Sani, Paolo Cavalieri in third. Here's Yanni van Rooyen doing a great job in another Jagermeister Soroka. Then we've got Neil Wetton. Then we've got Josh Broom, Neil Lobb. Look at them all. They're just coming through. Barry Scott's in the Rod Upstill's there as well. Then we've got Philip Pantas in the 240s there. What a mixture of motorcars. Theo van Vuren works at BM in a 2002. And the black one on the inside, that 163, is Gert Boters in a black Ford Escort. I mean, there's so many of these Escorts. I love the rear-wheel drive cars.
Yeah, as they come onto the back straight and heading up towards Egypt Sweep now, you can see that Darren Lobb is still battling a little bit in that Albarth. It's also 131. Normally his brother drives it, but of course he's doing exams and had to give way to big brother Darren. And as they come up here, father Neil Lobb is all over the back. Look at Josh Broom looking for a way past. Can he get through? Oh, it's through turn 7. That's the other left-hander on the circuit. He force wide, touches onto the straightaway. Now it's onto the brakes. Oh, he's got it completely wrong. The two Fords have gone off.
Good Lord, what a bonus there for Neil Lobb. He couldn't believe his luck, and just missing him was very... Here they come. Josh Broom pushing it, elbowing his way, shouldering his way back on the circuit, spins around Neil Wetton. He's off, and he just holds his car, does Broom. Is he going to get back into the race? Oh, that's the end. It's into the tire wall there for Wetton. Job done there for Josh Broom, and on he goes. He's back on the circuit, lying about 4th or 5th. He's lost a few places as they come through. Van Vuren, who's got his hands full there. He's in 12th spot on his tail. He's got another Wetton. This time it's Wayne Wetton in a Mazda, and they just a back of it. And have a look from the back of the field. The Skyline has come through there with Richard Sorensen making heavy progress through the field. A little bit further back is Darren Lobb in the 131, that blue and white one, looking very nice. And he certainly passes cars and gets the job done very quickly, does Richard Sorensen in that Skyline.
Well, Rog, considering the fact that he was sitting in the pit lane without anything on when the cars were lined up and ready to go, this is a superb drive. It's a bit of a pity that he wasn't up there with Peter Lindenberg and the guys at the front of the field, but Lindenberg in the Piranha is going to make it a victory here in heat number 2 of the Nashua Mobile, and this is a superb effort from him.
He's halfway around the circuit. He's got about a kilometre to do to give that car one of its last race. If he doesn't win another one, he'll know that in the series, that Piranha, the Basil Green Piranha, I believe they're going to make another 3 or 4, and they've got chassis together. They're in demand in Australia and England. That car is going to win this race. It's going to be a fine victory, but have a look, giving him, as they get into the traffic, here comes Uli Son in the Batmobile, that very colourful BMW. It's very potent, is that Batmobile, and he could do it before the last corner as he comes down. No, Lindenberg's going to get it. Paolo Cavalieri's not too far back in 3rd spot. Henry de Beer's got the flag. A nice win there for the Basil Green Piranha of Peter Lindenberg. Another 2 races to go in Cape Town, and that is it. Uli Sani second ahead of Paolo Cavalieri. Yanni van Rooyen, great job in the Soroka ahead of Neil Lobb, and Richard Sorensen 6th. Second race and a last look at the Goodyear pre-74 sports prototypes. Here they come. Is anybody going to beat Grant or Bell? Irvin Laidlaw's got something to prove. He's back with the Ferrari that repaired the car. In 3rd position, we got Min Shaw, and then we got the Lola there of Garth Waberski, looking very, very impressive. That big yellow car, Oliver Delay trying to push through on the inside. Race is on.
It certainly is, and as we saw and heard from Irvin Laidlaw, it was actually a mistake on his own behalf and not getting the tyres. Oh, he's got a problem again. I was about to say he had problems with the tyres. They weren't warm enough. He took it out in turn 2, and now falling way back. That Ferrari doesn't seem to be working on all cylinders here today.
You can't believe that. That car sounds so magnificent. You can hear it above all the other cars. Right, there's a man to watch this time. Kerry Van Sale in that little... He's sharing the car with John Sheldon. He had trouble in his Chevron, so Kerry is going to share this car with him.
Into Sassel at the top of the hill. Big crowds here, as we said, but look at the gap that's already been pulled out by this front man. Grant Orbell ahead of Jonathan Dutoy. Behind Jonathan Dutoy comes Waberski, the T70, just ahead of the Chevron of Sale. Then come the Porsches, and it looks like Colin Frost starting to put big pressure onto Delay.
Isn't it wonderful to see the 917s wherever you look, and Lolas and GT40s. There's Anton Repsol. Here comes the 2 yellow lines on his bonnet. Kerry Van Sale is doing all the driving. This one, it's a short race, just over 12 laps, and then the longer race will be later in the afternoon. The next race in our program, he's going to share that car with Sheldon. Have a look at the acceleration. Boy, is that little Chevron, a 2-litre Chevron. That's actually the open sports version of a B16, that beautiful looking car of Grant Orbell. and those were the most successful chevrons ever built by Derek Bennett in the UK. He went on to make some Formula 1s and Formula 5000 cars as well. But that little B19 was very successful. Mike Halewood drove it, and so did Paddy Driver, and quite a lot of other cars, and John Love and the others. Right, here's this big gas on.
Delay's under pressure here as they come under braking. Colin Frost sneaks up the inside. Martini Racing versus Lucky Strike Racing, and it looks like Colin Frost is going to hang on to it through turn 6. It's a double right-hander, and they flick it over onto the left-hand side of the circuit down towards Goldwagen Corner, and that's exactly where our leaders are going through now.
Irvin Ladle was back in business. He's got it chiming along on all 12 cylinders. Got a lovely set. It's a flat 12. It was basically a Formula 1 car. They put a sports car body in, and it was to put away some other cars. It was very, very effective. Colin Frost, he's got delay behind him this time. He's got the one that's, isn't that Ferrari? You can just see it's got a horse sound, actually, that flat 12. Right, here he's coming. He's trying to make up place. He's got so much. He's got legs here. He's got so much power under that bonnet of that car.
I can't wait to see this thing in Cape Town. Oh, no! Can you believe it? He slowed again. There must be a problem in the car. He's slowed again. He's looking down for something. Maybe it's a clutch. Oh, that's a big, big pity. I was about to say, I can't wait to see this thing down the back straight in Cape Town because it's going to be untouchable.
And he's got going again. There he seems to be going. France Pretorius comes up in the 911. There's France now 50. Here's the leader, number 12. It's not often France Pretorius gets past him by Grant Bell in his 956. But he's in a 911 this time and enjoying this racing thoroughly in that high Q car. Carl Pinnock comes through in that big Camaro. Then it's Grant Bell, and then it's France Pretorius. They're starting to get mixed up as this race goes on. It's so effective, this little B16. I don't think they get much better looking. That broken window he's got on the, if it is a broken window, on the driver's door has been like that for 2 years now.
Yeah, why fix it if it's working? I think it's perfect, and no problems there. That's second place. Jonathan Detroit, quite a way back from our leader, and at this stage, probably about 20 or so seconds behind Grant Orbell. The 98 car, that's an awesome machine too.
It's Graham Foss. He's the brother of Duncan Foss, South African off-road champion. He's been racing very good in Ford. He built that car. He said it cost him millions of litres of sweat getting that car together. He's out his 3.2-litre Porsche engine. Here's a bell to win it. QED for that car. 2 wins for the afternoon. Very well done. And he comes through in car number 12, that B16 Chevron.
So he's got it all sorted out now and put away all the dust and clouds from last year. Orbell taking the victory and making it 2 on the day. Jonathan Detroit in second place. Werberski eventually in third. Colin Frost and Oliver DeLay making it Porsches 4 and 5. Counting on the double, and you made it happen.
Yeah, it's a special one, but it's always a fantastic event to win. We've done it once or twice in the past, and it's special. It means a lot.
I'm sure it does, and especially considering the fact that once again his lordship had a little bit of trouble on the track.
Yeah, jeez, man, that thing, you know, when that Ferrari's on song, but it's dynamite, and we're kind of hoping he'd get his act together. I know he had a lot of trouble yesterday. I was quietly hoping he'd get his act together and we could have a bit of a go, because we kind of got a score to settle from last year, you know, where it was so close. But, you know, we'll take it any way we can get it.
38 cars entered amongst the 360 cars, in fact, entered for this meeting in the Execuline Springbok Series. Going to be over 45 minutes, and we've got them all in here. Sports cars. We are going to have such fun in this. The circuit is so crowded with motor cars. As away goes Tony Martin in the backdraft Cobra. That's another Carroll Shelby car. He initiated that one with AC. They used to have a Bristol motor. Now they've got a big Ford V8, as you can see. On the inside, Danger Man, the Kelly Van Sale B19 Chevron.
Then you've got the Morgan. That is Chris Clark. He's outside all on his own in the Morgan. His son Nick is in the first of the GT40s just ahead there. The Gulf Racing coloured machine just behind the leader, Tony Martin. We're on board with Lindenberg and Lazarus. And this is actually Ross Lazarus who started out the race. Peter Lindenberg sitting on the sideline waiting to do the change a bit later on in the race as they come flying. In fact, no, I lie. It is Lindenberg who started. Lindenberg's in front. He can just pick up that open face helmet of his. So it's Ross Lazarus who's going to finish. Gerry Van Zyl up the inside of Tony Martin. Tony Martin, no answer to that chevron as he comes flying up into Sassel Corner and now through the double right-hander of turn 6.
That's the nimbleness of a chevron there. Will Tony get the power on? He's got legs down the straight, make there and big power. We go on board with Nick Clark. He's driving the Ford GT40. He shares with his father. He's actually in the Morgan just behind. You've got to watch for him because that Morgan is very potent. It's got a little a BDA motor. The Hun could see BDA motor, and it does fly. Right, coming through on the first lap, it's Kelly Van Sale. We only see him, as you say, once a year. We've said that a few times, but it's nice to see him out. We'd like to see him more, but he's got business commitments.
Keith Rose getting out of shape there, Rod, just in the background in the Porsche, just behind this chevron of Detroit as they go through Execuline corner now. A little bit further back, you can see the Fiats, the Renaults, and the Fords all in action. And in fact, that's one of the darts. That's two. That's Michael Toner in the number 10 car. He comes through and looking good just ahead of Barry Scott.
And he was a champion in the historic racing. That dart built in the early 60s, boy, they effective. They made, I think, about 120 of them. They took him overseas. They raced successfully overseas. There's no limit actually to their holding, road holding. And just have a look how narrow tyres those guys race on. You see some of the other tackies or gumball tyres have got some of the other motorcars. Keith Rose. Then we've got Chris Clark. Then we've got, here's another exponent of Alpha Racing, is Colin Ellison, and leading the Springbok series is 911 Stefan Pushkevez. I think he comes from Austria and he's doing very well. 22 is the Minshaw car. Then we've got this Keith Rose. There's Chris Clark is going well in that little Morgan. Pushkevez, he's been steady. You don't notice him often, Greg, but in PE he won it. He got maximum points there. Yeah, he goes.
That's the thing, he's very consistent, and I think consistency pays off the most here. You can see, Lindenberg's got ahead of Clark. So Lindenberg moving ahead of young Nick Clark. Very, very talented polo driver. He campaigns in the Engine Polo Cup and will be this season as well. So let's see whether or not he can put all that into use today. There you got Keith Rose. Behind him comes his dad. That's Chris Clark. And then we got Ellison. Look at Ellison. That little Alpha is absolutely flying. And then just behind, here comes the Mazda.
Yeah, Anton Roth is going. He's a dragster too. He puts that car to a lot of work. And then we've got Jason Finney. And the next one is the Pantastis car. Then it's Altona. Then we've got Barry Scott. He's always in the action, Barry. I must say, beautifully turned out little escort.
And it goes. Man, it goes like the clappers. All right, as we get onto the back straight, Mark Altona in the dark, just ahead of Barry Scott, heading up towards Age of Sweep. And it's all about planning, timing here, because we've got 45 minutes of racing, Rog. Yep. And if you're on your own, you've got to pace yourself, because this can take a lot out of you.
And they have pit stops as well. If you've got to refuel, you've got to go in the paddock, but pit stops do come into this racing. Possible driver changes. Some of these cars have been shared. Some people like to drive the whole way themselves, but you've got to get out the car if you're going to refuel. Pantastis Cup's up the road. Michael Toner's right in his style. That styling looks fantastic. Versteer de Wit, Bob Van Niekerk, Willie Meister, and all the others, Sandy Burnett, Piet Van Niekerk was the road tester's car. Those little darts, 1 hour, 9 hour race. They had Bill Jennings, had a Porsche engine in one. We've had the lot. And I see he's entered under backdraft racing. There's Colin Neal in the big Mercedes, as we say. And Thomas Faulkner in that Mustang's not going that quick in this one.
Yeah, unfortunately, it looks like he's got a little bit of a misfire. It's not working on all cylinders there.
Because he was aggressive.
He was. And you saw him in the saloon car race. He was all over the back end of those big American muscle cars and showing what it has. Doesn't look like it's working too well. Or maybe he's just pacing himself, right?
Yeah, maybe he is. Well, we want to see more of Thomas Faulkner. There's Ed Burtis in the little yellow Mini in his tail, 84, one of the Whittles, Justin Whittle, in a 71 GT Juno, very popular, well-priced car in their times. And it's a classic shape that never tires. Here is, now they're sharing this car, John Selden, and it's Kerry Van Sal. I think it's Sheldon at the wheel of this one now. Then it's the second man in the race, and that's Tony Martin, the backdraft Cobra. He's modified this car to fit in with the rules. He's very competent. Behind him he's got Whittle in the Alpha. Look at that for a classic shape. It's never grown old at all. Burtis comes down the road. Here's Tony Martin.
In the background comes Lindenberg. So Lindenberg's up to third, closing into the back end of that big backdraft Cobra. He's in amongst the traffic, not getting through the traffic as well as what we'd like, I'm sure. But Lindenberg hanging on. There you go. Nice move there. Just saw the hand come out, showing Lindenberg that he can go up the inside as they head into Execuline corner. This is where it's all going to happen. Can Lindenberg now start to close down on Tony Martin? He can see him. That's what he needs to do. The target is there. Now just reel him in.
That's a beautiful view. You get over that big left wing of that motor car. That's what it looks like inside the motor car. Burtis in the Mini. We've got others there. We've got Pete Breeden, also drives one of those. 135 is Franco Reska. He's a real MG man, that. And he stays up with all of them. Here comes the Minshaw car in amongst the pack on his tape.
Look, he had to get onto the brakes, though, Rog. He had to get onto the brakes behind that Burtis Mini, and that's allowed Nick Clark to maybe sneak up the inside.
Yes.
They're going to go through. Oh, that was so close. There was no gap there for Minshaw. Nick Clark saw what was happening, took the inside line into Age of Sweep, and has moved up to third place. So Minshaw, no answer there, had to climb on the brakes because of the Mini being in the way, and now has been demoted to fourth.
There's Pete Breeden coming through in the little Leyland, as it says there. The Mini, he drove that for a long time. The Pinos in their little very effective Datsun. Number 100, here we come there. That's Alan Eustace in the Dart, comes through. And then we got the Pinos here. They are now another one of the unidentifiable Lotuses.
Yeah, no, not easy to pick up those numbers. But more importantly, here comes the leader. He's tucked into the back end of this field. You can hardly see him because it's such a low motor car. B99, Jeff Gable in the Lotus, allowing him to get through, forcing the Triple S wide through turn 2. Now they come through 3 onto the back straight, and the Chevron, while he's got a massive lead over second and third place. I don't think I'm able to catch him because he's getting through the field very easy compared to the other drivers.
They're not going to catch that motor car. It's so effective. It's got away from Tony Martin as they come through here now. There's the Pinos. Nicely turned out little 1200. Franco Jacobs got one of those too and does a lot of winning. That little ribbon down the back shows you newcomers to this form of racing. There's Pushkevez. He's leading the Springbok Series and he's likely to win. It's just got to stay where he is. He's winning the points. Behind him you've got that
Ross Lazarus is in the championship. Then you've got Michael Toner, Peter Lindenberg. Those are the guys all fighting for the Springbok Series. But of course here on the day is more important. These guys want to be taking the victory and the podiums and all the trophies at the end.
They do. Everett Burton, that yellow Porsche is through there. There's the Finney Renault, very effective Renault R10, that one. We've got Stacey coming through in his Cortina. And then it's Franco Resco. And then we've got a little 914. That's Paul McDivitt in basically a Porsche 914, which is really a Volkswagen sports car. So it might go that way in the future. We've got pit stops.
Pit stops, 3-minute compulsory pit stop, Rog. You have to wait 3 minutes in the pits, even if you are fueled and ready to go. A 3-minute compulsory pit stop happens here, and this is where it all can change. Anything can go wrong here.
Francis Lobb comes in. That's one of the racing Lobs. We've got the father in the Storm racing. We've got Darren. Here's Francis, and we've got drama here. It's Barry Scott has gone off the road. He spun on turn 1. That's the Execuline sweep as he comes through. Barry Scott has gone off the road and ruined his chances. Martin's trying to get through the traffic in that big backdraft Crowbar. What a driver. Won the 84 Daytona 500, so they didn't even know the names of South African, with Sol van der Merwe and Graham Duxbury. Here he comes. What a competent driver, just getting into his 60s, and he's one competitive. He said he was put on this earth to race motor cars, and he also builds these backdraft Cobras. In fact, going over to America, he's got a car station over there to go and race there. There's Peter Lindenberg coming through Stacey's Cortina. Then we've got the Frank Resco car, and as we say, that Paul McDivitt car in the 914 Porsche.
They go through Egypt sweep up towards the top of the hill. You can see that Nick Clark is up there. Barry Scott's car slightly more damaged. That's a big pity. We were just saying how nice that car is. A little bit of work to do there for maybe the Azoic panel beaters machine.
Oh, Evert Burt's out in the Porsche. What a pity. He was doing quite well. And the thing about Barry Scott, long-distance races seem to always cause problems.
Esterhazen's in the pit with a quick change here. You can see that the MG being refueled, waiting for that refuel to happen, then waiting the compulsory 3 minutes as our championship leader so far. This is Pushkevez. He'll come in for a quick refuel and 3-minute compulsory stop.
What I love is the Pinos have parked their car in the pit lane, right out where you shouldn't be, in the road coming down. Look at the parked there, double parked there. And in comes Frank Resco and that MG. That's seen a lot of action. It's a very successful motor car. He just loves these MGs, as a lot of MG guys do. Right, we got there's a Kerry van Sale getting into the car. He's going to finish the second stint in that motor car. It's in the lead. Pushkevez moving out of the pits. He's at his 3. Going to stop. No refueling. If they have to refuel. All problems here for our sponsor, the Execuline sponsor. This Alan Eustace. Why? He's been told to remove himself from the circuit. That's why.
Even the MD of the company doesn't get away with murder in an Execuline race.
Oh dear, here's Chris Clark now. That MG, the Morgan is going so well. In fact, he's closing in on his son in the GT40. That's got a very hot little engine. He's done well in that Morgan. And in the pits, we got Franco Scribanti getting into the Tony Martin car. Just sounds like an Outbay fishing boat leaving the harbour.
Yeah, listen to that thing, Rog.
Big horses.
Man, that's awesome stuff.
Right, the pit stop's over. We're back in the action. Anton Roth comes through. Got 15 minutes to go. Here's the Chris Clark car. That's the Nick Clark. That's his son driving. Wonderful opportunity. He's a young man doing very well. Here he comes here now. Passing Ed Burtis in the Mini. That's a lovely car. GT40 is hard to beat. We say that about so many of these cars. They're such desirable motor cars. And these cars all being replicated here in South Africa.
Famous racing colours on there as well. The Gulf racing colours of that GT40 that Nick Clark's in. Keith Rose goes through. There's Burtis in the Mini. You can see that sunset is starting to come into play here. These guys don't have tinted visors when they get up to where we are right now, turn 5, and when they come into Goldwagen corner and Execuline sweep, it's going to be very difficult to see. And clear visors are not an option to run here, although a lot of guys are doing them.
Right, Philip Pantasters was in that Alpha here. What we've got a hands up is
Michael Toner. Michael Toner's going into the pits.
Minshaw car passes there, passes Trevor Tuck in his Alpha. as Minshaw comes up the road. And we've got Alphas and Fords, just like the old days. It really is fantastic. The Springbok Series has brought these cars out. And Greg, they're not parading these cars. The times they're doing in these races, we got down to 9s and 10s, 11s and 12. Those are quick times on the circuit in cars that are up to, what, 20, 30, 40 years old.
Yeah, Fansel and Sheldon were the quickest of them. And look at this. Woohoo! There goes Roger Pierce. He's getting involved in the action. Pushkaver's just behind him. But as you're saying, Rog, that Chevron B19 got down to a 109. That was the quickest lap in the 45 minutes.
Right, here's Roger Pierce now getting onto the brakes at the top of the circuit, and the sun really in the eyes. Yellow MG, Pushkaver's always there, not spectacular. Frank Reska comes through. Then we got Ed Boert. It's nice to see these cars lasting these 45 minutes because they are pushing on and revving them as hard as they can. And have a look, the MG taking the push. When does that happen, Rick?
Only at the Execuline Springbok Series.
That's it. Okay, here comes Kerry Van Zyl now. Safely in the lead, he's coming up, and Keith Rose from Cape Town. Nice to see a big contingent of Cape Town drivers came up to this meeting, and a lot of drivers will be going down to Cape Town. How's that for an effective motor car? They really honestly get to the boring stage. They don't slide, they just go around corners, they go quickly, and they win races. Here's Franco Scribanti now, and on his tail he's got Nick Clark, the son of Chris Clark in the Morgan. And I think that Morgan's actually giving him a bit of a go. Right, Frank Reska, as they come out the MG, they come out of the top of the circuit, his hand goes up. He's going pitwards as well. Not much of this race left, and they can't pit too late, by the way. Otherwise, they'll be disqualified. So you've got to time it pretty well. I know Roger Pierce pits very early in the race, gets it over with, and then gets back in the race. It's Tony Martin. He's lying in second spot at the moment with Franco Scribanti at the wheel of that car at the moment. And Franco normally drives Ferraris, 360s, hopefully in a 430, is now driving in a big V8 backdraft car, about a 7-litre motor.
On board now with Lindenberg and Lazarus, and this will be Ross Lazarus in the car. So Lazarus now taking over for the second half of the race and absolutely flying. In fact, putting in some very, very hot lap times. The Morgan just behind him there of Chris Clark, but he can't even get past at this stage, and that's Ellison.
Oh.
So real tight racing out between these guys, and that Alpha actually is in with a chance of a podium.
Oh, he's a mean peddler, is Colin Ellison. Here comes Chris Clark, also pushing his luck on the inside. And that started as a little 16, he had a Kent motor, and I think he's got a Pixie BDA motor. Right here, you're looking over the left wing there of a big GT40 with Ross Lazarus from the Colin Lazarus stable up there at Centurion. Wonderfully prepared motor cars as they come up, and Ellison's taken them hard work to get past. These guys are flying, very late braking into this Ajib suite. They go wide. Here's his chance to get through now. Start to floor it up on the right-hand side. Is it going to work for him? As they get onto the brake markers at the top of it, you can see it's the blind right. It's still Clark, it's still Ellison. No, here comes Ross Lazarus. I thought I heard a hooter. No, it's a burglar alarm going off in the crowd. I thought it was the Lazarus hooting to say, get out of my way. But still Clark, he's been at racing a long, long time, is staying ahead of Lazarus.
And Morgan's got a great turn of pace around the circuit. You can see he's actually putting a little bit of a gap now on the Lazarus GT40. This is a Jimmy Price built machine as they come into Goldwagen. Oh, big puff of smoke there. That was late braking from Ross Lazarus.
That's for sure. And those things have got such sharp brakes. You push them hard and they can lock any wheelie like Minshaw comes through. And then we've got the Tony Martin car that's in second position at the moment. Anton Rath, the Esterhazen Alphas, that's the brothers, Brian and Carl. As we've said before, the father was really steeped in Alpha. He used to build Alphas out at Brits. Nick Frost is there. Then we've got the Esterhazens, and we've got 86. There's the little Lola from Cape Town. That's a car being shared by Rudy Pateur and also by
Neil Lobb.
Yeah, Neil Lobb's having a drive. Let's stop in the pits, Roger Pierce. Have a look at the name of the team there, Greg. Team Must Get Beer.
That's it. MGB Must Get Beer.
Yeah.
Oh, some changes here at the closing stages. Minshaw up the inside of Lazarus. Lazarus comes straight back at him side by side towards Execuline corner. Can he keep it all together? Yes, he can. Ross Lazarus has got his hands full with only a couple of seconds to go in this race. I don't know if he's going to be able to keep Minshaw at bay. That Chevron is flying.
This is the last lap, and have a look also. Chris Clark is actually ahead of his son Nick in the GT40. That Morgan is being very, very good. Well playing tactics here. So Ross Lazarus got the steam. The V8's got the legs. Have a look as he comes around the sweep. They're going for Abjad corner. They'll just have a dab in the back. And Minshaw's serious about this. He's gone ahead of him. Took an inside berth. It's starting to gallop. There is the Minshaw car. He's got on the inside. Round the sweep he goes. It's going to be up the hill. We've got a few corners to go. And it looks like Minshaw's going to do the trick. As he comes up on Michael Tony, says, pass me on the right-hand side. Here he comes. Here's some of the Frank Reska comes through. Trevor Tucker. Then we've got Keith Rose. All having wonderful times. 45 minutes of wonderful racing. And we've had Mazdas and Alphas and MGs and Porsches. It's fantastic to see these cars all out enjoying themselves with their drivers. They come from all over the country.
and they'll be heading down to Cape Town for the final round of the Springbok Series. As we get to the closing stages now, the final corner coming up, that's Goldwagen corner, and it's going to be Gerrie van Zyl and Sheldon who are going to take the victory here in the Chevron.
Well, at the start of the day, you would never thought that Gerrie van Zyl would have won it, but he did it with John Sheldon. Martin and Scribanti, that's Franco Scribanti, was second. Alan Minshaw got his third spot ahead there of Ladders and Lindenberg. Then Keith Rose, Chris Clark, and his son Nick was in seventh.
Gentlemen, a complete turnaround from last year. Didn't start last year and it absolutely flew this year.
We had a fantastic ride. Everything went well with the car. Driver, co-driver, John, both of us shaped up. No problems. A win.
John, did you have fun out there?
Absolutely terrific. My day had gone all wrong because the car that I brought from UK had the engine had malfunctioned, and that looked like being the end of not only my weekend but my trip to South Africa. But Jerry asked me, and he asked me into his car a couple of years ago, and we had a great time. We've corresponded all the way through. While talking to you, I've got to say how great the hospitality is down here. We just love coming down here. You give us such a great time.
We love having our international drivers come and join us for the Springbok Series. And heading down to Cape Town, there's only 4 people who can possibly take it. Pushkevez leads out with 68 points. Lazarus, Altona and Lindenberg all within 1 point of each other. And look at that, Jason and Cindy Finney on equal points in 8th and 9th. Without the sponsors, the Passion for Speed weekend would not happen, and a big thanks from Zwartkops for all of our sponsors for the 9th International Zwartkops Historic Race Meeting. Join us next week as we go down to Cape Town for the final round of the Execuline Springbok Series.
Passionate about motorsport, have we got a great program coming up for you. We've got sports cars and saloon cars all featured as part of the third round of the Execuline Motor Insurance Springbok Series. All this action is brought to you by Execuline and their associate sponsors. We're at the Zwartkops International Raceway just outside Pretoria on an overcast day, which will help keep some of these older motor cars cool. Among the more than 300 entries are true classics, some of which date back nearly 60 years. And you name it, they're here at Zwartkops. Cars that come from the James Dean and rock and roll era of the 50s and 60s.
And the Arena Motorsport has also launched a brand new concept, the South African version of the Stig. Mr. Z will be here for the first time. I wonder who's behind that dark visor.
First up on the program are some hairy cars from the 60s, big American saloons with, as you see, Frank de Matei. He qualified the car for Derek van Black, Mark de Toy, Sarl van der Merwe and Paolo Cavalieri. Thomas Falconer, in his only second race in the country, is there and looking very good in this race. It's going to be a 10-lapper, 33 cars in the lineup, and we're underway. There's Chevy versus Ford in the front.
Ford Mustang takes the lead into turn 1, and you can see that Franco de Mateo did all the work, but it's now Derek van Blerk in the car who has to keep Sarl van der Merwe, Mark de Toy and Paolo Cavalieri in that brand new Chevelle on his tail. Up the inside, Falconer looking for a way past. Whoa, already onto the dirt.
2 corners into his racing career. This is second race, we say, and he nearly spun it in that pack. Not the thing to do, but he's still there and following around this very fast corner. And it's black lines all the way around the sweep as they get onto the back straight.
Yeah, Rog, those Hoosier tyres working double time. Now they come into age of sweep. Now look at this, Cavalieri under big pressure. Mark de Toy in the 27th Daytona Beach machine, once past, and he's all over the back of that brand new Chevelle, heading up towards the top of the hill. Are we going to see some late braking? Sorrel starting to pull a bit of a gap here. Late braking and onto the brake markers now. There comes Mark. He sneaks up the inside. Cavalieri keeps it wide. Oh, he could have turned in on there, but he didn't, and he gave Mark enough room for him to go through.
And this is the debut race of the Cavalieri car. It's a Chevelle. He comes from Atana, does Cavalieri, and he's really got a racing program going this year. Behind him, we've got Derek van Blerk, the leader. Sarl van der Merwe, arm up there from Mark de Toy. There's a safety car in the circuit. They'll all slow down and get into single file and wait till the circuit is cleared for racing.
Looks like there's been a problem out on the circuit somewhere. There is the car parked in the side. And looks like it's Keegan Ward who's put it here just at turn 2. So safety car boards are out. Sorrel will have to tuck in behind. But what's going to happen now, Rog, is the field is going to close up right to where they were at the start. And we're going to have a restart of all this action.
And Sorrel needs to get right on the tail there. They're behind that focus of Derek van Blerk. He's on the left-hand side in that very fast Mustang. Right, the Land Rover, the trusty Land Rover pulls up Keegan Ward's Cortina. We've got Peter de Toy with us from Zwartkops. Peter, what a field you've gathered here of all makes and sizes.
Yeah, tremendous field, tremendous spread. It's great to see those little Mini Coopers out there in force.
And one of the loves of your life, of course, has been an A35. You've always liked A35.
Those there too, yeah.
Yeah, and it's Stuart Grigg in their car. Storm clouds are gathering in the background. Fortunately, staying away from us. Mark Tatoy's gone to third. The Chevelle, that's a very quick motor car. Well prepared, also part of Peter's stable. And then we've got Alan Poulter. With Faulkner and Brian Rowland Jr. comes over from Dubai to race his father's motor cars that come into this corner. There's the Brian Rowland, he's got original colours. The Grove Jaguar looking very good. So it's all about, in the front there, Derek van Vleck, Saul van der Meer in that Galaxy, and look at the black lines going down around Egypt corner.
American muscle here in full effect.